Am I on? I'm hoping I'm on. I don't know.
At the moment, it's waiting for you, so. Yeah,
I'm in. Ow, that actually it. Right. Partly my fault, partly the Bugle's fault. And the Bugle's on the phone. Yeah, you heard, Tony. You heard. I mean, I'm going to get all the grief here, so I'm getting my little jabs in now. Right, hello everybody. Sorry for all the confusion. Right, Tony, I'm going to hang up and try and invite you in, okay? And Janae as well. Right, see you in a minute. Bye. Right, do apologise, guys, if you're watching this. Oh, what a kerfuffle. Trying to get it all organised, and then we thought we wasn't live, and then it turns out we actually was live, so I've had to come in and start the whole process again whilst under pressure, which is not a very comfortable place to be in. So I'm now going through the invitation process, and I am trying to invite individuals. Now, as it stands, I can't see any of the chat. There's probably something I could be doing, but at the moment, I'm going to just try and get my guests on board before I worry about any of that. So I do apologise. It's very unprofessional, isn't it? 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've got Tony logging up. Are you there, Tony?
I am.
Yes, and we're on. You want to say hello to the YouTube massive, Tony, while I just sort all this?
I do want to ask, though, that apparently, as I'm now banned from doing any live Facebook live feeds.
What is that, Tony?
Because I'm banned from doing any Facebook live videos with no explanation as to why I'm banned. So if any of your followers can jump over to mine, because I'm only about 4 short of being able to go 4 or 5 short on people to be able to go live direct to YouTube. But until I hit over the 1,000 mark, I can't go live from YouTube. So if everybody can nip over there onto mine, just type in Tony Bugle YouTube, you should find me easy enough.
Indeed, indeed. The old thought police are out.
Yeah, they just don't want me having an opinion.
Yeah, yeah, which is why we're all doing this. You know, you should have an opinion if it's done. Oh, Janae's in. How are we doing, Janaea? You back with us?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Have you guys got comments running through your side of the stream?
I'll go and check now.
Right. Have you? How about you, Tony?
Let me have a look. I can see comments. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I haven't. So, if anything, you guys will have to be the kind of arbitrator of any comments. I'm hoping Great Britain has managed to jump in the hot seat as administrator as well. So same again, really do apologise, 1 to the 2 guests and 2 to the YouTube community for messing about and kind of nosing up what should have been a freaking simple process. But there you go. So I'm starting the hour right from now. Okay, guys, thank you very much for jumping on. As you know, this literally is all about a video that I worked on over several weeks, begrudgingly, I have to say. The video was called, I ended up calling it National Front Rearing Its Ugly Head, Parts 1 and 2. Now, for me, it was a no-brainer to point the finger at what could be very negative for the movement moving forward. Now, no fingers were pointed at any one said organisation, but it has to be said that when you do see negative elements, then the first thing you do is you kind of shout from the top of the mountain, because it's doing us all an injustice as much as it's doing that said organisation an injustice as well. So with the videos coming out, I knew it was going to be a difficult topic for so many different reasons. It's going to touch the nerve of different people. So I did expect that. What I didn't expect is the wave of kind of attack and cynicism from me, towards me and other people as to why we've done it. And the fact of the matter is, I'm saying people are very cynical. They still won't admit the fact that what we pointed out was the National Front clearly at some events. Not to say that they're aligned with these events, but they were just attending. So with that, guys, I'm going to say personally, two guests I normally regularly speak to, but I haven't had on my channel for a good while, and that is Tony Bugle and Janaea. So if you both like to say hello, whoever goes first, it's up to you guys. Welcome to my channel.
Go on, Janaea, you go first, young lady.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Well, that really lifted the bleeding room, Janaea. What happened there?
I'm tired.
All right, Tony, come on. Are you going to make it any more exciting than that, or what?
Right, okay, Janaea, over to you. Do feel free to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Hi, I'm Janaea. And that's it. Right, I'm Tony Bugle, founder of Mother's Gate.
Your signal's breaking up a wee bit, Tony. I don't know what my signal's for you with the larger public, but...
Yeah, yours is slightly, but it's fine on the actual video. There's a slight lag, very, very slight.
It's better now.
Right.
But
Janaea is perfectly clear. Right.
Well,
okay, so I'm going to... Go on, Tony, go on.
That's true, actually. I've only got audio, so it's probably helping with the connection.
Yeah, she's only got the audio. We're video and audio, so it's going to be slightly better from her perspective. Plus, and the reason she's doing that face is because she hasn't put her face on today, and she doesn't want you to all see her without her makeup on.
Well, it's not true. I did an interview before with the BBC without any makeup on. I just look really bad now, and my hair's a mess, and I'm just sat at my desk with revision all around me, so it doesn't look great.
What's commonly known as a nappy head, I do believe, Janaea.
Yes, that's basically yeah, honestly, I've got dark circles.
I can't say anything. Look, I've got paint still on me. I've got, look, rough as a bear's ass. No airs and graces with me. I don't care.
I don't say anything either because half my house is covered in baby stuff, along with baby goop and everything that comes with a baby.
Oh, you know, your signal's really breaking up, Tony. I hope it does improve because it's going to be vital for your input on this. So for the moment, hopefully it will improve. But I'm going to go to Janaea just because her signal's pretty clear. Right, Janaea.
Yes.
Let's start with this. National Front rearing its ugly head, 1 and 2. From your perspective, what do you feel, firstly, about bringing the topic up, and 2, about the actual video itself?
I don't think there's any issue with bringing the topic up, really. I mean, if it's something that needs to be discussed, then it needs to be discussed. The videos aren't problematic. It's not like you've actually blamed anybody. If anything, the way I perceived it was more that it's a warning, like, oh, guys, you've got these guys tagging onto you. Just be careful because it doesn't look good. If people are being pissy about it, then, to be quite honest, that's their own problem. I would think that the first thing you should be doing is denouncing them, not going, oh, why are you pointing that out? Because then that just makes me think that you secretly agree with them.
Very valid point. Very valid. Tony?
Basically.
Tony?
When I saw your video, obviously, I did the same as everybody else. I sat and I watched it. And was I aware of this? Yes, it had been brought to my attention. Did I think that to point out who the National Front are, and not just, this weren't just a few people that just happened to share the views of National Front. This was the chairman of the National Front who's turning up and by his own admission, on his own videos that you dug out, was turning up at different types of events. To tell people that those people, that particular person and a few others alongside them were there, I thought was the right thing to do, because surely, I know when I have that event, if I said this to you myself, Bill, if somebody had come to me and said, that guy there, that guy there, that guy there, they're National Front, boom, there's the information on them. I would have said, keep camera roll and Phil, come with me. I would have gone over and said, I'm making it publicly known. I don't want you here. You aren't welcome here. I can't stop you from turning up, but I can make it very clear that you are not welcome here. Certainly not by me. I would have made that abundantly clear. Now, to me,
got a bit of freezing going on with Tony.
Sorry about that. I would have said thank you for telling me. That's what I would have done. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. But instead of you getting thanked, you were targeted. I was targeted. I didn't know you'd done the videos until the videos were put up, the same as everybody else. But yet, I was accused of paying Busker, accused of paying you. And God knows who else I'm supposed to be paying. You were accused of only doing this because you were egged on by me. Well, I'm sorry, but that implies that Red Pill Phil doesn't have the ability to think for himself. And he needs somebody who looks like the perfectarian to tell the brown man what to do. They can't even see that that's racism in itself, that they think like that. It kind of beggars belief. I was a bit shocked at some of your comments on your video. I can't lie. It took me a bit by surprise, if I'm honest.
Yeah, as it did with me. I knew there'd be a little bit of people digging in, which was why I felt it imperative that I tried to be as in the middle in that video as possible. Just stick to the facts, not to attack individuals on it. I know on the side what's gone on because of initially when people brought this up, but I didn't even want to bring that into the video too much because, you know, I personally, from my perspective, I had to leave it there. I didn't want to be seen to be jumping on the battle, but at the same time, I am noticed a level of bullying that's been going on just because someone has been mentioning it. Now, this someone has been targeted as someone who is now bullying certain elements that own organizations, all because the person, Busker, has been frightened to death about what he's actually seeing. He's been following an organization, and now he's like, whoa, totally disillusioned. So he's got every right to go, listen, guys, these are here. So for them not to denounce it and then turn on him and then in some ways call him a grass. You're calling him a grass.
Not in some ways, in every way. That's exactly what they called him. Because threats were made to him, because he had the audacity. And the thing is, the concept, the whole point of a grass, nobody knows you're a grass. That's why grasses are called grasses, because they hide like snakes in the grass. That's where the word grass comes from. They don't publicly stand there and go, see that man there, he just threatened me. That's not being a grass. That's somebody who goes to the police and points out that person just threatened me. But no, he was called a grass. He was then threatened. He had verbal attacks. He was, I found that instead of going, do you know what? I'm horrified. I'm horrified that the chairman of the National Front is up here when he certainly does not represent the views I have. And I'm horrified by this. And thank you for telling me, you know, when you initially told me quietly. But no, you didn't act when you were told quietly. And therefore, he ended up saying it publicly. So I can't really to bully and then come on your Fred and say that he's got mental impairments, that I was using him because he had mental
hold on, Tony, now you just mentioned that. Let me read the actual, this is by John Binder. Okay, John. So considering you don't know me at all, you seem to have your handle on everything that's going on. Tony Bugle, don't act innocent, sweetheart. Everyone knows your game. Using a mentally impaired guy to do your dirty work is low, even by your standards, Tony. What do you say to that?
Well, I wouldn't mind, but that, number one, I've never thought of him as being mentally impaired.
Janaea, Tony, any ears?
I don't. Sorry, I actually wasn't paying attention then. Who's mentally impaired?
I'm supposed to be.
You are supposed to be mentally impaired.
Read the thing out again, Phil. Do you know? Pay attention.
You listening to you and everyone else?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Tony Bugle.
The comments. That's all.
Okay. Tony Bugle, don't act innocent, sweetheart. Everyone knows your game. Using a mentally impaired guy to do your dirty work is low, even by your standards. Now, I'm assuming it's probably Busker, but you don't know whether that means me as well. But I'm assuming it's Busker. But then that goes back to the initial argument that you posed, that if he is that mentally impaired, then he's been filming Yellow Vest events and you've loved his work for the past several months. He's been filming stuff on various other events and you've loved his way of looking at it, his perception, his filming, his channel. He's got several thousand views. It doesn't spell to me as someone who's mentally impaired, just someone who was concerned and had the right to call it out. And
if according to them, he's mentally impaired, you were threatening him. These people were threatening him. People were threatening to beat him up with violence. They were threatening to jump him 3-on-1. So if he had mental impairment, they're quite happy to beat up on somebody who's mentally impaired. Now, which one of us is looking like a bit of a wanker here? Because it isn't me. Because number one, I don't think he's mentally impaired. Number
That's a
two,
pity. Tony's signal's breaking up.
I'm really sorry. Sorry, I tried. But I just think...
Can I just say, why have you got the name called The Bugle? You've barely got an internet connection there.
I don't know why. Do you know what? I don't even know why my signal plays up every time I try to do this.
It's always the way. It is what it is. It is what it is. But no, it is. Anything you want to add to that, Janaea?
I just think, really, was it a throwaway comment? Because I know, I'm not saying that makes it okay, but I know people will be like, oh my God, he's retarded, which obviously used to mean somebody who was mentally impaired. We've just changed the meaning of the word now. Or people say, oh my God, are you crazy? So was he actually saying, or she, or non-binary, or whatever they are, actually saying that this person is actually mentally impaired, which kind of makes it pretty sick? Or were they just using it as a throwaway insult?
Could be a bit of both. Certainly, it's a way of discrediting Busker, because they've utilised that on all of us in one way or the other. It was a mention that... What's that, Tony?
It was said more than once that he supposedly was mentally impaired. It was said on more than one occasion.
You can't do that. I mean, this is the same guy that's called Tony Bugle a big-nosed old trout. You know, he's just literally jumping in. There's one chap who's totally just coming to the comment. I know, yeah, all these compliments. I keep doing it to you, don't Tony? Well, this one guy called Scott Jones there, totally oblivious, like you do. You watch a video, you make a comment. Now, he's not coming from a position of knowing either side. He's just looking at that information on that video. So he's just made a comment. This is beyond disturbing, right? To which you've got two people. A Stanley Burgess comes out. Scott Jones is stop being a Nancy boy, but grow up real hardcore world snowflake. So that's that. I mean, you know, that's just little tit for tat. And then this Johnny Binder all lies on him again. So then Scott Jones Scott Jones has come out and he's put, I am pretty hardcore, thanks. All I said was I found the content disturbing. I offered no other opinion. So this is what I mean. This is how quick these people are ready to jump out the blocks and jump down people's throat just because they're putting the most lightest opinions down. So if you've actually got something to say that might go against their narrative, imagine what they're going to be like with you. Anyone.
Well, it isn't just... I mean, I'm looking at comments now, and you've got people already saying calling out Zionism's not the same as calling out Jews. Well, when somebody stands and the video footage is there, you can see it for yourself. You can hear the man say it. He says Jews are a paedophile cult. He didn't say Zionists are a paedophile cult. And Zionism itself, the word Zionist literally means that you believe that Israel has a right to exist. That is what the word Zionist means. There are too many people who genuinely do have an issue with the whole Zionist thing. And then there are those who just hate Jews and use the Zionist word to hide the fact they just don't like Jews. They think Jews own all the banks. Well, they actually don't own all of the banks. And if people did their research, they'd see it's not just owned by Jews. They think that it's the Jews that run the media. Well, there's a lot more money in media. And if we've only got to look at Facebook, we've now got Nick Clegg involved with Facebook. Pretty sure he's not a Zionist or a Jew. So this whole, people do hide behind the word Zionism to mean Jews. I would have more respect for people, even if I didn't share their views, if they just said, you know what, I just don't like Jews. I'd say, well, at least you're honest enough to say it. I don't share your views. And away they go on their own way. But that's not what they're doing. And that still doesn't make it okay.
Rose English is, sorry, I've just got my comments on my phone. And Rose English, sorry to disturb you there, Tony, but she's put, not all Jews follow the Talmud.
Very true.
So that's like saying not all Muslims follow the full edicts of the Quran. So you can see the quagmire with him because people just want to go from one little bit of information and tar the whole demographic with that little bit of information. How it muddies the water for everyone.
Yeah. And then to go, they went a step further and there was comments made about apparently I had egged you on. You were doing this because I had egged you on. Now this implies you don't have the capability of thinking for yourself. There was also comments of me apparently paying people. I don't know how much money these people think I've got. I really don't.
I haven't got it yet, I can tell you that.
Well, I would say the check is in the post, but that would be a fucking lie too.
Well, if it's anything like, don't pay it by internet, as I'll never get it with your freaking broadband down there.
Let me say, I've just seen Great Brit say there is nothing wrong with Tony Bugle's sound or video.
I can hear it okay as well, to be honest.
Oh, right, okay.
You're the issue.
Yeah, gee, it's always me, innit? Come on, blame me. Blame the Black Nazi. That's all it's about. That's where we're going, innit? The Black Nazi. Always bleeding my fault.
I was going to go down the line of me being the perfectarian bitch that I've been called on war. And you being the black dude and the black girl. Of course, my signal is superior. You know.
Neo-Nazi broadband connection.
Oh, I'll tell you. You must be getting a couple more meg than us then, Tony. Is that what you're saying? Institutionalized racism is affecting the bleeding broadband.
The five is racist.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So anything you want to add, Janelle?
I just agree really with what Tony said. It's a case of people like to hide behind the Zionism thing to try and make it look as though, no, we only have an issue with this one particular sect. But honestly, I'm not sure who they think they're kidding, except people who are just downright thick. It's the same as people, and I don't want to go too much into this yet because I know we're still on this topic, but the people who say, oh no, I don't have a problem with Muslims, I only have a problem with the radical sect. And really, there is actually a substantial chunk of people who just downright don't like Muslims, and then they latch on to people like us who are genuinely just concerned about the radical element, and then they make us look bad. It's that similar sort of thing. The waters get muddied. So yeah, I agree with Tony.
Well, I'm just seeing somebody comment here. I just want to see whether his name. You obviously don't understand the difference between Jews and Zionists. Zionists are fake Jews who perverted the religion for their own aims. Anyone who doesn't understand this needs to research. Matty England. No, I do understand the difference. My point is, unfortunately, there are also, and if you can't see this, that there are people out there who will use this word, regardless of what it may or may not mean to some, purely to comfort the fact that they just hate all Jews, right? The same as those who sit there and go, when I say I don't have an issue with all Muslims, right? And I actually have got to the point where I will not follow up with everything I do by saying, but of course it's not all Muslims, because I've never said it is, so why should I make excuses for that? I'm not going to do that anymore. But the difference is, I stand on platforms with Raheel Raza. I've stood on platforms with many different Muslims. I talk to different Muslims who I know are not extreme in any way, shape or form. So actually, I'm showing with my own acts, not my mouth, my own acts, my own behaviour, that isn't the thought process. But there are those who go, well, nobody's saying it's all Muslims, but then in the next breath go, but we should kill them all and wipe them all off the face of the earth. It's no different. In my opinion, it's no different.
Also,
it was just beyond the comments, I don't know if you read them, but they were...
Wait, on which one?
On Phil's initial videos that he did about this.
Yeah, I read them. They were really bad, some of them. Although most of them were actually quite positive, so... That's a good thing to take.
Well, I mean, yeah, just before you say that, Janelle, what I will say, just to get it balanced, in terms of thumbs up, thumbs down, there's still, I think it was 80% more thumbs up, roughly speaking, than thumbs down. However, the thumbs down, there was a lot considering I don't get a lot of thumbs down. And then the comments kind of backed up the thumbs down, but with a certain element of vindictiveness behind it. So that's why I felt, well, this is something we need to talk about. And like the point that you made earlier, Tony, that this stream now would not be happening if people would have looked at that video and then literally gone, right, well, we know what we need to do. We need to go online and we need to totally denounce the National Front from anything that we're to do with, and then just move on. Job done. The march is next week. Let's have it. And then no one would have batted an eyelid. It's all this kind of... the fact that people are just getting in the way and creating obstacles on what is a normal common sense talking point. Sorry, Janelle.
Yeah, I wasn't really going to say much more. The only other thing I was going to say was, it seems a bit off topic now, but the whole thing that I was explaining to you the other day about that sociological concept of racialization. So
Yep.
basically, the reason that the left say that it's racist to criticize Islam is because Islam's been racialized, and by that, what they mean is that Islam has become synonymous with a particular racial group. So when people say, I fucking hate Islam, some of them actually do mean, oh, I'm not going to say the racial word, but you know, some kind of racial insult. Now, obviously, Islam is actually an ideology and it's not a race. We all know that. That is actually just a fact. The problem is, again, it's muddying the waters. There are groups of people who just think that Islam and brown-skinned Middle Easterners are synonymous. So I know people who go, oh, you know, everyone gets on together, white people, black people, Muslims. Wait a minute, but I thought Muslim wasn't synonymous with Middle Easterners, so why have you just used that in a conversation when we're talking about race? Do you get what I mean? And people will look at Middle Easterners and automatically assume they're Muslim. So there's this guy that I absolutely love called Crime Bodge. He uploaded a video. He doesn't talk about politics. He only talks about police issues. That's his whole thing. And he uploaded this video of these, I think they might have been Pakistani or Bangladeshi or something like that, men. And they were having trouble with this police officer. It was his typical type of content. The comments were fucking vile. They were the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He actually pulled the video. The racism in the comments was absolutely disgusting. And people were like, oh, Muslim this, Muslim that, blah, 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 blah. And I don't mean they were saying bad things about Muslims and that's racist. I mean, they were saying things that were racist and then also in the next breath saying terrible things about Muslims. And it's like, wait a minute, there is nothing to do with their religion in this video. So why have you assumed that they're Muslim just because of the way they look? And when people do that, it gives credence to the concept that there is a racial link between Islam and people who criticize it being racist. Muddied waters. People need to watch the language that they use.
Tony?
Well, I'm just watching your comment section. Sorry. There's something I've got to say, Phil, because if I don't say it, this bloke's going to sit there and he's going to whine like a girl's tit for the next 20 minutes. So I am going to do exactly what he wants me to do. Because the guy called Pendragons, come on, Tony, answer some relevant questions about Tilbrook, Graham Moore, Money, Natalie Bradshaw, or actually, let me correct that, Natalie Scrubber, Bradfordshire. Shows the sort of bloke you are because you're referring to a woman as a scrubber who you've probably never even met. So that makes you a bit of a scumbag in my book before I've even answered the rest of your question. Second question, Robbie Tilbrook, you can email him, he'll answer you. He is still taking it to the High Court, but you know what? When you go through the High Court, it's a bit of a long process and it doesn't happen overnight, but he's still taking it to the High Court. This is him taking the High Court, taking the government to the High Court with regards to Brexit, because we have officially left and he is actually suing them, okay? Secondly, with regards to Natalie Bradshaw that you're calling a scrubber, Natalie's a personal friend of mine. Doesn't mean I share Natalie's opinions or views. I don't share the views and opinions of every single friend because I do not live my life in a fucking echo chamber. Now, I hope Mr. Pendragon, because that's such a great name. Oh, Graham Moore, we don't even like each other, right? The man, I warned you about him when you had the Pendragons and he was calling himself Daddy Dragon. You didn't listen. So if he's fucked you over, not my problem. Keep me out of it. I've answered your questions. Can we get back to what we were actually talking about now? And you can stop waffling on about a load of crap that actually is irrelevant to us.
Well, I'll tell you what is relevant about all this is that it does feel that we're kind of repeating a cycle here. That you get people that, because for whatever reason, they've got it in their head that they might not like you, Tony, or they might not like Janaea, or they might not like me for whatever reason, then that fills and fulfills their conformity bias. So then everything you do to them has got an ulterior motive, which builds up that narrative that you're a rat, you're on the take, you're a puppet, you know, all the usual names come out. And it's disingenuous when people come on literally just to target you on issues that have got no relevance to the stream whatsoever. You know, it's like someone bringing up Tommy Robinson with me at this, because which frequently happens, I must admit. So it's disingenuous and it's intellectually lazy. Let's keep to the point in hand, and the point in hand is the National Front, which are there which everyone's seen. It's well documented. Now, even going back to what I was saying with the video, the information that I got from various sources was one thing. Then I decided to have a look myself on YouTube and on the net, which brought up various articles and various YouTube clips. Now, that was only with the basic amount of research. It wasn't even spending that much time on it. But I'll tell you now, I had an horrible feeling collating all this information, because I'll tell you, when I do my videos, what I tend to do, whether you do it or not, I'll get a folder on my desktop and I'll collate roughly at least about 40 to 50% of the stuff that I want to work with immediately. And then what tends to happen, I can then build a picture, and then the other 60% tends to come as I'm developing the story. I might need to go back in and out of the net or whatever, get thumbnails, get, you know, various articles, whatever it is. With this, as I'm collating that 40%, I felt like crap, because I'm having to watch things that were just taking me back to places I didn't want to go to. But that didn't affect the overall video itself. It just made me think of how this should not be anywhere near the marches, and how I should be doing videos talking about positive things and positive causes, not this, and not getting crap for it as well.
Can I just say that our lovely, delightful Mr. Binder is on your live feed right now. And according to him, so if someone stands next to him, and that makes them National Front, ? Well, actually, that's a statement, first of all, Sunshine, use your question marks correctly. Second of all, nobody is saying that if you go to a march and there's 10,000 people, and there's a couple of guys that are mixed in with those people who happen to be National Front and you don't know, no, we're not saying that standing next to them makes you a National Front member. But the fact is, there was about 10, 15 people, and they were stood right next to the people who were leading that very movement. So wrong. When somebody comes to you and points to those three people and goes, he's National Front, he's National Front, and he's National Front, and he's already told you that that's who they are, and you research their name and you find out actually it's a chairman of the National Front, I don't know, Mr. Binder. You tell me, because you're calling me and Phil, or you're calling Phil a hypocrite. Or maybe it's me you mean as a hypocrite. So how are we the hypocrites? And to say, Phil, you did the same, that means you went to these marches and you stood with these people. I'm pretty certain if I'd have gone up to Phil and said, you see that bloke you're stood next to, Phil? It's National Front. There might have been some teeth missing, and probably not Phil's. So this stupid mentality that you've got, Mr. Binder, who made calls on me and judgments on me when you don't know me. Let me tell you now, you won't, because I've got to get this out of the way, Phil. I'm really sorry, but I've got to get this out of the way. I'm not going to name any names, but let me tell you now. See the person whispering in your fucking ear, you moron? That person went around telling people I lied about my rape. She's never even met me. So if you really want to point fingers at people, I suggest you start pointing at the people that you are defending, because you're obviously a dumb, ignorant pig that doesn't understand fact from fiction. And what Phil did was give people their heads up so they have a choice. That is what he did. You have an issue with that. It's really simple. Don't come on and view his videos. Don't watch them. Then you've got nothing to chuck your toys out your pram about, have you, Mr. Binder? Now, I don't know about you, Phil, but right now, I'd be feeling a bit of a dick and I'd probably leave. But he will sit on there and he will gob off.
Well, I mean, that is the beauty of this, is that what we're talking about is a marginal kind of very slight narrative that is possibly there and possibly coming in. This guy coming in and not only attacking us, but not prepared to call out what we're actually talking about in any way. None of the comments from the Pendragon or from this John Binder has actually spoke about their feelings on National Front members at the marches. So to me, that spells volumes to everyone in this chat room who can see what they're all about, with the way they just want to get on your case and they want to get on our case. Everyone else is saying, I don't want the National Front near me. The National Front's no good near the march. Thanks, Phil. So it's almost like, Tony, we don't really have to say too much, because common sense and the moral compass in people is actually answered the stream before we've started it. It's a no-brainer. We're not here to attack individuals. These people are, because these people are friends with these people. So the fact that we've called the friends of these people out means that they're justified out of sheer friendship and loyalty to attack us and not actually appreciate what we're talking about. So it's sad that they see it that way, but that's their own flaw. They can attack all they want on it. It's to me, I was saying it to Janelle, each time people do that, all I do is look and go, oh, right, that's where you're coming from. Right then, that's where you're coming from. So the comment section was a brilliant barometer for me, and it was more positive than negative. We'll go back to that, you know. So it's just unfortunate that these Muppets are part of the problem, in a sense that when you've got real issues that people want to talk about, you can see how people within the comment section attack, pull people down like crabs in a bucket. You know what I mean? When the majority of people on this stream just want nothing more than to talk about the real life issues without all the crap that these guys just want to keep there festering. So, Janelle, anything you want to say on that?
Really, I don't know who this other guy is, but he's clearly an NF sympathiser, so I don't think it's worth getting worked up about what he thinks. I mean, yeah, he's asking questions, but they're just provocative questions, and he's clearly not here to actually get answers to those questions and receive them with an open mind. I don't actually know why he's bothering, to be honest, because he's already made up his mind, or she.
And there was one thing I want to point out, Phil, before anything else, is there was a point where, I'm not going to name the person, but a certain person that a lot of people follow and a lot of people have got respect for. We'll just use the initials TR because we all know what happened.
Don't get banned, Tony.
I know, but he himself called out the National Front himself. He actually stood up on a platform, if I remember seeing the video footage correctly. He stood on a platform and he named them. He named the people. And he told everybody went, yes, you are the man. Phil does it. Suddenly there's a major issue with it.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Very good point.
And you only did it, of course, Phil, because I, one, egged you on, two, told you to do it, and three, of course, being the perfectarian bitch, I am superior to you. That's the mentality of these idiots.
Tony, just do me a favour. Just raise your right hand 1 second.
You're not making me do a C call, are you?
No, sorry. No, raise your left hand then. I didn't mean that at all. Right, hold on. Oh, look. Put it back down again, Tony.
Oh,
Tony.
Hang on a minute. Let's go for two. Are you ready? Can you feel that?
Ready?
That's the power.
Whoa, Tony, what's going on? I can't control this, Tony. You know?
A bit like Al Jolson.
Hey, I tell you what, I wish I had his freaking voice.
It does make you laugh. So apparently I'm paying Busker, I'm probably paying Janaya and you. Bearing in mind, I don't go to any of these marches. Apparently, according to them, I've never done anything. I've never been involved in anything. I just sit behind my keyboard. And I'm like,
that was another allegation that was thrown at you.
It was, yeah. And I'm sitting there thinking, mate, you're the one bashing on your keyboard. I'm so busy getting off my ass and doing things that I don't normally come on and comment on any of Phil's videos.
If I'm going to call that out, what I'd say, I would rather you be there at the keyboard than some of the people that are out front of house fucking the movement up from here till next Sunday, with the way they decide to speak, the way they want to articulate themselves on camera, and the way they attack certain individuals on various different subjects. So I prefer you to be sat there in exactly the position you are if what's going to come out your mouth is common sense, not attacking people and not creating divides and not really starting, getting at people for no reason. So you can see, one thing I will say is that, like I said, this video has brought out a lot of different feelings for a lot of different people for many ways. This is one comment, but a comment. And it's by High Compression Head. And it was done, I think, about 3 days ago.
What kind of name is that?
I know. Well, yeah, listen to this. I think I might have read this to you, Junaid, actually. And it says, Britain historically has been white European. The worst thing that ever happened was Windrush. You are not welcome. We don't want you here. We don't want blacks here. Never have. You are not welcome. The fact is that if Enoch Powell had become Prime Minister, he would have got in on a landslide. We haven't changed. We don't like immigrants. No matter how long you stay here, you'll never be British. You'll never be accepted. We tolerate you. That's all. And then one thing it ended with was 14 words. Now, I was oblivious. I was ignorant to what that 14 words meant. And then Janaea broke down what 14 words meant. So, Janaea, I've got to bring you in here. Can you articulate what 14 words mean, please?
Oh, God. I think a lot of people will probably know, but for anybody who doesn't, it's basically a slogan that's associated with neo-Nazis. It is something along the lines of, we must secure the existence of our future and of our people and a future for white children, or something like that, which actually sounds kind of reasonable if you just take it in isolation.
Yeah.
The connotations and the people that it's associated to, which make it extreme, if you get what I mean. It's the connotations, not the statement itself in isolation, that makes it a little bit concerning. You also commonly see 1488, and the 88 is 88 is the H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, so 88 is Hail Hitler.
That's right.
Sorry, I was emailing my tutor, then I got a little bit distracted.
It's all right. Tony, do you want to say anything on that?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing again here comments saying that, you know, I don't know whether he means you or whether he means Bosca. He called out a grieving woman. You didn't call out a grieving woman. You were actually trying to do not just her, but everybody a favour in showing them that this is who they are. This is what they look like. This is what they represent. This is their views. This is slightly worrying. Are you all aware? That's what your video was about. It was about raising awareness, right? Now, I don't know whether, if that had been one of my marches that you hadn't attended, you did that video, I would have said to you, Jesus Christ, I had no idea. I had no idea. But I'm really glad you told me, because I'm going to jump on now. I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to turn around and say, just to make it clear, those people were not with us. They were nothing to do with me. I certainly do not share their views, and if I see them there again, I will be making a point of saying they're not welcome. That isn't what happened. Mr. Binder came on and made this a personal attack against you, a personal attack against me. The video wasn't my video. This is the other thing Mr. Binder seems to find really difficult to understand. It wasn't my video. Phil didn't make the video because I got on the phone and went, oh, Phil, I'm so upset. I'm such a little snowflake. I can't cope.
No, it was actually because you said you were going to give me 100 quid, Tony. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah, I got paid, didn't I?
Like a puppet master. I fell for it. But one point I will make, this is hypocritical, because all I've done there is called out the National Front for really racist tendencies and anti-Semitic rhetoric, right? Now, it wasn't that long ago that it was discovered that Corbyn was anti-Semitic, and there was anti-Semitism running right through the Labour Party. Now, if I'd done a video on that, everyone would be patting me on the back, going, yeah, you've done it, that's it, more of that, Phil. All I've done is the same thing here. I'm not doing it to get at, I'm doing it as if to say, if you don't do that, you're going to be susceptible just like Corbyn was. So let's sort it out. Let's own it when it happens. You can't agree with it when I do it for him, but then criticise me when I do it here, because if you disagree with it there, why are you agreeing with it here?
Listen, everybody was patting you on the back, Phil, when you stood there and you took a lefty apart at an event for a certain person that they all adore.
Yeah.
Everyone was backslapping you then. They couldn't wait for you to get a YouTube up so they could jump over and follow you in their masses and backslap you. What was you then, the token black guy?
Well, yeah, that's how it comes across, doesn't it?
Well, we like him because he's a black guy saying what we want to say, but if we say it, we're racist, so we'll use him. Is that what we were really witnessing?
Also, have I got a new puppet master now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right.
I've
Right.
stepped into the new shoes. I filled them. I got really big feet and everything.
Is it one hand on Tony, one hand in another position? So I'm a bit like this, like.
But yeah, this is why we call you Cockeye, not Cockeye.
Yeah. Well, freaking hell. Right. Here we go. Right, John Binder. I think I'm starting to be on your side here now. I can't believe I'm getting this abuse, even from someone I thought was a good friend.
Well, to be honest with you, the thing is, I am going to make this clear as well. I don't know who Johnny Binder is, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't know me. He's never met me. And he's saying, deal with facts, not what gets your attention. I don't actually hate Johnny Binder. I don't hate any of them. He can have his opinions, right? And he's entitled to them. But there is one thing, and he said, so you reckon you helped Tracy Blackwell? Actually, I reached out when it first happened. I sent a message. And I said, if there's anything I could do, feel free to contact me. I did do that. But of course, Johnny Binder can't read my inbox messages, so he wouldn't know that. I don't have an issue with Tracy. I don't have an issue with as many people I don't have issues with at all. But I do have an issue with when I'm accused of being the one responsible for your thought process. In other words, implying you are not a man who's capable of thinking for himself. You made the decision. I didn't even know you were going to do the sorry videos. You did the videos. I watched them and I went, Jesus Christ, who's this Tony Moyne? I went and looked the guy up, for crying out loud. That's the right thing to do. That's the right reaction. What his reaction was to not only come on there and be derogatory towards you, but to come on there and drag me into a video that actually was nothing at all to do with me. But if he can't get that, like I said, I don't hate the guy. He can think whatever he wants. He's entitled to his opinion. But I do know that some of the people he is knocking about with, trust me now, these are not good people. Anyone who goes around inboxing people and saying a woman lied about her rape when you've never even met that woman is not a good person. But you don't know about that because you don't know me.
Have you ever had friends that decide to go on a fancy dress party and they all collectively decide that they want to wear Ku Klux Klan outfits, run around with pigs' heads outside Islamic centres with white crosses? Do you know anyone like that, Tony?
No.
Right. Okay.
Well,
what would you do if you did know someone like that? I mean, just out of just sheer curiosity, would you go to the party?
No.
Right.
I wouldn't just not go to the party. I think I'd probably tell them exactly what I think of them as well, to be honest with you. And this is what I think this is where people are losing their abilities to understand that your video, and not only that, people aren't understanding you were a bloke who grew up stepping outside of your front door to see the words NF daubed on walls where you lived. You grew up with the National Front wanting to kick the shit out of you based purely and solely on the fact that you were the wrong colour human being for them. Not for your way of life or for your culture or for your religion or for anything else, but you were the wrong skin colour.
Content of character, not colour of skin. That's what I believe in.
So how did people think you were going to react when you realised the National Front are up there? Now, by his own admission in the video, if people actually bothered to listen to what was said, the video clip that you found of his, which I didn't know about until I saw your video, where he says he went up to the DFLA march, he admits he went up there recruiting. That was the words he used. He was on there recruiting. He was up there recruiting. This should worry people like Johnny Binder. Johnny Binder should be the one going, do you know what? Actually, that's a bit of a problem. Unless, of course, he shares that thought process, and then he's not going to call it out. Now, if you don't share that thought process, then what you should be doing is actually that woman you care so much about, Johnny, you should be protecting her. You should be protecting her from those people. Mm-hmm. So therefore, actually, as friends go, either you're failing her as a friend, or you just don't care and you think it's a case of we've all got to unite no matter what. Well, do you know what? I'm never going to stand ever with National Front any more than Philly's ever going to stand with National Front. And if somebody tells me National Front are present, Janiah's not going to stand with them either. right? And it isn't because they're brown skin and I'm white skin and I'm being politically correct. It's because I don't like people who judge people based purely and solely on the colour of their skin. And that's what it's about.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Pete, I'm looking at the comments again, and same again. We're not saying the yellow vests are now National Front, the vets are now National Front, the DFLA. I mean, let's get on to that. I had, and I mentioned it earlier today in the stream, I had a brilliant chat with one of the organisers, the founders of the National Front, Kyle. Brilliant gentleman. Called him back. We were chatting for about an hour, and he basically was thanking me. He didn't see it as any form of attack. He said some of the people within the DFLA were confused and couldn't really understand. But like you've said, all you have to do is watch that video and semantically look at all the text that I've put up, and you'll see what my intention was with that. It's not difficult, but people cannot watch the video without then grabbing hold of the conformity bias and assuming that it was a negative thing I was doing. So from the basis of me doing that and mentioning about DFLA, which there was only one clip and it was Tony Martin who mentioned it.
It was on your live feed, I might add. That's how important it is.
You know, I didn't even follow it up. I did not then go into how I feel about.
He's live. He's on your YouTube right now.
Tony Martin.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Party. I was in a pub and people I didn't know came in on a fancy dress costumes in Halloween. This is the KKK outfit, yeah.
Right, all right, Tony.
Whatever. But the fact is, he's the wrong colour human being for you, isn't he, Tony? That's the truth of it. Now, I'll admire you a lot more if you've actually got the balls and you're man enough to actually type in that chat box that that's exactly the truth.
Well, I've already documented it within the video that he's actually said non-white immigration. Right. I'm all up for immigration full stop. So I'm on about, if we're going to talk about an irrational immigration flow, that's not just got to be blacks. That's got to be Eastern Europe, which is many countries in that Eastern Europe sect that are coming over here that are not assimilating. They're not really doing what we regard as traditional values, and they're not really coming and being a part of the community. They're very much creating their own little cliques, and it's not just Muslims doing it, and it's not just black people doing it. So when someone says, you know, non-black or non-white immigration, that does chill me, because then that makes me think that your motives are different. So then how can I be stood next to anyone who does feel like that? It's ridiculous and redundant to think so.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I also think that, you know, I mean, as somebody just said, it's amazing and that we're choosing which comments to react to. Well, you know, your comment section is going mental. It's very difficult to keep up with the comments as they are. Mm. But also the thing that I find amazing about this is that they can't get that you felt passionate enough to make that video because as a man who happens to be mixed race and who grew up with the National Front being dogged outside your door where you were targeted by those who were NF, of course it's affected you. Of course you've reacted.
Yeah. Well, I've just had Tony Martin come up and said now, I dislike fake... Sorry, Tony, I've just got a button before it goes. I dislike fake news, Phil, because you're a liar. Oh, Great Britain's just got rid of it. And he's saying I've got basically, I like all ethnicities, but in their own countries. So he's basically backing it up, but semantically, he's not saying I don't want black people in this country. That's all you're saying. Now, with the immigration flow that is irrational, you can see how his rhetoric will merge into just immigrants, black, let's get them out. Not immigrants and the people that are not really assimilating and the people that are really causing the problems, whether they be black, Eastern European or whatever, get them the bleeding hell out of Dodge. No, he's making it very specific.
That's because he's racist and he's just taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
It's like I said to you and Frankie and Anish the other day, people like him and Mark Collette would always have been racist. It's not even a case of, oh, I've become a bit hostile because things are getting out of control. It's a case of, I fucking hate minorities. Oh, things are out of control. How can I exploit that for my own racist cause? But the funny thing is, ethno-nationalists are never going to win. I think civic nationalism's got a chance of doing quite well. It's on the rise, obviously, and populism, but people just aren't that racist anymore. It's never going to happen. Most people have got ethnic minority family members, or a family member who's gay or something like that, the other kinds of minority groups that these actual fascists hate. So he can sit there and his group and make as many racist and vile comments as they like, but the truth is, they've lost. They're the past. Civic nationalism's the future.
I've just got to say, Great Britain's coming. Pendragon was moaning about free speech, and Great Britain's just coming. You've got your right to free speech, and I've got the right to punch you, but I can't. It was like, you know, it works both ways. You can't moan about free speech, but then off the back of that free speech, you're going to say the most hateful shit that's going to make someone want to do your head in. Talk to James Goddard, going calling Scousers, or saying Liverpool's a shithole. My God, I have never seen a city react so quick to what will get a man and rip him limb from limb. That's your freedom of speech for you.
I didn't see that.
Oh my God. It's the funniest, but the most distressing, because they shouldn't do that to him. But at the same time, there's an element that says, you caused that. You've been doing it up and down the freaking country for months, and then all of a sudden you try and go in Liverpool, which I must say, I've got to say, one, I love Liverpool, and two, Liverpool is the most unlikeliest city that you're going to get away with going up and criticising them dead in the face, because not only are they one of the most humorous cities, the most mentally acute and the most articulate and eloquent people, Scousers. I love listening to them. And if they've got a gripe, they are not backwards in coming forwards in letting the world know about it. So that was the wrong place to go and say, Liverpool's a shithole. And he got found out. He ended up, unfortunately, Antifa got onto it, which that wasn't nice. Sorry, Janine.
Sorry, I just wanted to butt in to say two things. First of all, I was just reading some of the comments, and I just wanted to say the reason I've not said that much is because I actually don't know that much about this situation, which is why I've let Phil and Tony sort of take the lead. I'm literally just here to denounce the National Front and say that we need to make sure we keep the real fascists out, because they taint us all. So yeah, this is nothing personal to any individuals at all. Second of all, we actually don't have freedom of speech in this country, and we never really have, as far as I'm aware. We have something called freedom of expression, which is different, because freedom of expression isn't an absolute right. You can go and read the European Convention on Human Rights and see the conditions. But yeah, that's the reason why when people go, oh, we have freedom of speech, people are like, well, no, we don't. And yeah, it's really a problem. People should go and read the European Convention on Human Rights. It's quite interesting because it now applies in our law thanks to the Human Rights Act, but that's slightly off topic, but it's an interesting document.
Well, what I'd like to say, I don't know whether Tracy Blackwell's on here as well, because yeah, Tracy's on here. Hold on. No, it's one-sided opinion, Rose. I actually like Phil. Just being shocked by these videos without being asked anything. Tracy, I didn't need to ask you anything. In a sense, I've seen Tony Martin's there. Tony Martin is representative and is a leader of the NF. So I've not done this to offend you. I've not done this to pull the yellow vest down or what your tragic event was all about. I didn't need to ask your permission to talk about this. It's evident that when Busker asked you, look what happened to him. So I done my own thing, and my own thing was the fact that because it's National Front, I have my own personal feelings on what National Front means to me. So it's highly disappointing that if people are disappointed with me, then it works two ways. That I'm disappointed that a movement I've really had a lot of affection for and done a lot of work for over the past 2.5 years, that now there's some elements that are on the periphery and people are attacking you rather than calling it out and going, you know what? I'm going to overlook the fact that he's my friend, because the main point is it's the National Front and no one wants to see that in this movement. So it's kind of redundant me attacking the messenger. I've got to attack the point, which most people in this comment are still dead against, which is the National Front. So Tracy and Tony Martin, you know, there's not a lot you can say, and John Binder. You can stay in here really kind of putting your spikes out and giving Busker a little bit of shit while he's in the comment section. But your argument don't really stand up to scrutiny because no one's attacking you, Tracy. We're just trying to get rid of what we kind of see as something as we don't want around. No one wants the rhetoric of the National Front around. And no one's saying it's totally run rampant within the Tracy Blackwell movement, the Yellow Vest movement. I'm just saying, if he stood there with a camera, and then not only that, you've got a John Jones who has got a yellow vest on, and they're seen cozying up, that picture does tell 1,000 words, doesn't it? I'm not then implying that you've got it's National Front all the way, but you're not far from it if it's getting closer and closer and closer.
I mean,
guys.
The whole point of us doing this live feed was to make it very clear. Now, I can see Tony's comments again. I haven't marched with the yellow vest. I've filmed and taken photos, as I have on hundreds of events. And your mate, who I believe his last name was Jones, was wearing a yellow vest. Now, we are not saying that Tracy had any idea who those people were with yellow vests on. How could she? Right? That nobody was trying to say that at all. In fact, I can't understand why nobody just didn't say, Jesus Christ, okay, now we're aware, we need to say, actually, I now know who you are, and you are. And you aren't people we want to be involved with. That's what I would have done. That's my personal point of view. So, Mr. Martin, you can sit there all you like and say, you haven't marched with the yellow vest. You did. You did. At the same time as slipping your arm around and rubbing the back of one of the women who is very good friends within that movement, who likes to turn around and accuse people who have been raped of lying about it. I'm sorry, but that's the facts. Now, I'm never, ever going to sit there and big up the National Front. Not now, not ever. But that doesn't mean we're sitting there blaming the people. I am sure when a certain Mr. Robinson held his march, and the NF were turning up then and they were doing their Nazi salutes and Christ knows what else that was going on. He stood on a platform and he read out a list of names. And he made it very clear. In fact, I think he even attacked and punched somebody who was National Front. So why is that? Everybody, he's a hero, he's a hero, he's a hero. Phil, who was effectively grew up with scumbags like that on his doorstep, who thought daubing the word National Front all over his brickwork was perfectly acceptable and wanted to kick the crap out of him for being the wrong colour was perfectly acceptable. But Phil can't make a video where he's calling out the National Front without everybody's taking it as a personal attack against a person who was leading the march. He was trying to give the heads up. Now, you could say he should have gone to a person, or he should have gone to that person, he should have gone to that person. Not everybody has the phone number of everybody. Not everybody also, if you are a person who has grown up with NF on your doorstep like that, your reaction is going to be of one of, actually, I am horrified at what I'm seeing. And if you are turning up at things like the DFLA, how do I know the bloke stood next to me is looking at me and I am the token black dude?
Yeah.
For video views, but nothing more. I can't see how people are taking Phil's videos as a personal attack. And that said, nothing was said about the fact of what he was pointing out, and yet people were so quick to come on and accuse him of making that video on my say-so, on my orders, on me requesting it, on me saying that he had to. I hadn't even had a phone call about the videos, didn't know anything. I knew nothing about them videos until all of you all knew when they went up. So to sit there and say that you know that I somehow was the one pulling his strings, making him do it. What you're saying is he's not a man enough to make a decision for himself. This bullshit.
Well, the point I'd like to make is that, like you say, I started in this movement, as it were, on the premise that don't call these people racist, because I know there was elements in there. I'm not going to be naive enough to say there wasn't. But at the same time, that's nothing like what I had to grow up with in the 70s. So what I am saying is I've grew up with that kind of politics around me and that kind of resentment just for being who you are. You know, you can get on a bus and people just look at you and this, that, and the other. Oh, you've had to, we've all, as you know, kind of people of colour have had to deal with that. That's fine. I've now come up and worked myself up as a positive human being that can see beyond the fact that because I was treated like that as a kid, I now have to have the knee-jerk reaction where I blame every white individual in society and blame them for my woes that happen to me. I'm more elevated in my consciousness to not do that to you, Tony, or to any other white individual on this stream. So that should give me a little bit of credence that I can actually distinguish my own thoughts and not really then use that as hatred to hurt someone or to get back at someone. So this was never about that. People should understand that I would not be here now. I would not be taking names like a Nazi if I was just triggering. You know, there's a common sense point to this, and that's got to be made as far as I'm concerned. But what we'll do now, guys, because the actual hour has run up now, is there any final points you want to make?
Are you asking me or Janaya?
Either one of you.
You can go first, Tony.
No, I'm all good. I'll be honest with you. I am absolutely dying for a cup of tea and to give my beautiful grandchild a cuddle before he goes off to sleep. And then that's me done for the night. It's a case of chill out with my feet up and a movie, which is what I do best because apparently all I've got is my keyboard and my feet.
Right. Well, just make sure before you do all that, get the money in my bank account, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, go.
Right. Janaya, any last words from you?
Really, just that people need to be careful who they're letting in. I guess it's hard to say letting into their movement if it's a street march, but people just need to watch, I think, as well, who they're associating with. And that's not a dig actually at Tracy. I am just saying that generally, I can think of a lot of people who that would apply to. And yeah, I think generally people need to be much more vocal about the fact that they oppose the extreme factions of the movement. I hate saying that because I don't even like to think they're associated with us, but let's call them the far right, the real far right. I just think that people need to be more vocal about it because at times it often looks like people don't mind these groups. And I think there is a lot of people who say they're not racist and stuff, but they might not be. They might not say vile racist things, but if someone else says it, that's okay. I think that if people aren't that way inclined, you wouldn't entertain these people. I don't mean on a political level, so you wouldn't debate them, you wouldn't appear in an interview with them. I just mean you wouldn't be happy to go down the pub with them and have a dinner and have the phone number of a neo-Nazi. That will make me question you. And people who are like that, I don't want anything to do with them.
Well said. Couldn't have said that any better.
And now I'm going to go and revise judicial review.
You go and revise. Thank you very much for your time.
Lady. Don't make me come looking for you now before bedtime.
It's okay, I'm on it. I'm going to see my tutor tomorrow. I'll make sure I get this done.
You get your work done. Thank you for staying on the stream for as long as you did, because I know you wasn't scheduled for that. But anyway, this stream has been enlightening. We've been able to chat all the various points. I think we've kind of thrashed it all out. But I mean, as part of, from what I can say, I'm going to echo pretty much a bit of what Janae is saying and Tony's saying, that for me, it's not an attack on any Tracy Blackwell, DFLA, Vets, or any other organisation that has been, you know, party to Tony Martin being in and out of. No one's holding you responsible. We're just showing an obligation and a duty to show the rest of the world that this movement that we're trying to form is fair on all sides. Because if we can't show that between us, we've got no chance of the external world believing a bleeding word that we're saying. And I'm actually in darkness because, you know, my blackness is dimming me.
Yeah, I was going to say your brownness is being hidden in the darkness.
Oh no,
that was very racist of me.
Oh, Tony, you know what you like.
It's just my final thoughts on this is this: we do have to call it out, okay? When it's brought to our attention, or whether we find out through some other means, we do need to call it out. Because if we don't, the left will, and if the left are given the opportunity to beat you over the head with a shitty stick, they will. It's as simple as that. It makes us the better people, all of us. Every single person who's called a racist and a Nazi that isn't, we actually do hold the high moral ground, all of us, because we're not afraid to call it out where it is. That's where the left have the upper hand. When we don't, they sure as hell will. they sure as hell will. It's as simple as that.
Higher moral ground and moral compass. And it's not easy because we're all angry and everyone's emotional. And why should we play fair when they're doing this to us? So I get it, but we've got to send that signal out. And I think doing streams like this, calling this out, is going to make people feel better that people in the movement are prepared to do it. So I think that's where the hope is coming from with all this. So that's the positive ending that we need, that, you know, we're going to get to that conclusion that we want if we're vigilant and if we watch our own backs and everyone around us.
Yeah, and to Tony Martin, who said, and where did you steal the moral high ground from? Oh, we stole.
Well, I go meeting KKK members with pigs' heads, mate. That's where my high moral ground comes from. I go around helping people. I don't go around antagonizing people, Tony. So you've sold yourself out, mate. Everyone knows what you're about, and it's unfortunate that you're on here trying to kind of validate your position, really. But you can do if you want, but I'll always be there and I'll always call you out. I've got nothing personal against you. And one thing I will say, I'm not up for deplatforming you. You've got a right to an opinion. You can have your YouTube page. You do what you want, but you don't have to do it next to me. And I've got the right to say I don't really appreciate your rhetoric, and so has everyone else. And I don't appreciate being bullied because I'm calling it out. So can't say any fairer than that, really. So what I'd like to say is a big thank you to Janelle and a big, massive thank you to the puppet master, Tony Bugle. I'd like to say, if you could cut the strings, Tony, because I want to make a brew, because I'm finding it hard to pick the kettle up, because every time I do, you keep moving around and everywhere.
A proper little hit the bitch that I'm regularly called. I have this to light the fire. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, I get called the perfectarian bitch because I just happen to, I wouldn't mind perfect. You know, I was just flat at the perfect bit. Oh, you know the rest of it.
Just got there.
I do want to make one very, very, very important thing here, because I can see it going on. Bosca, you need to quit, okay? You need to quit. They leave you alone, you leave them alone. It needs to be that simple now.
Yeah.
You go on your way and you do your own thing, but you need to leave it at the door.
Yeah.
You've raised your voice up. You gave your opinion. Should he be threatened for it? No. And people who threatened him, well, you're just dickheads that use violence to shut somebody up, and that's not right either. But Bosca, you need to back off now, okay? Because you're not making yourself look good when you do shit like that, all right? So I actually get. In fairness, I get where Tracy's coming from on that. So you don't need to just quit now. You've said what you need to say. Leave it at that. Just leave it at that.
Fair play. No, fair play. I mean, it's same again after this stream. I'm on other things. I mean, I'm actually at the Voicing CSA this weekend. So look forward to that. That'll be coming up on this channel, whether I stream it, whether I'm doing hard footage. It's just calling it out, saying it for what it is, move on. That is it. There's no kind of, oh, I've got to stay in there to make sure people get the point. If you don't want to listen, it's up to you. But at least I know I can sleep at night. I've called it out. Tony's called it out. Janae's called it out. DFLA are in the process of calling it out. I don't know what the vets are doing. And, you know, maybe Tracy, I don't know. You know, I love Tracy, so there's no animosity there. So I'm moving on from this now. This is literally putting a full stop under it. So I'd like to literally end this right now. So you
can say no, I'm not.
Phil.
Yes.
Can I just make one last point?
Yep.
I agree with Tony that it needs to be left alone now. I mean, everybody said their piece and said sort of what they think about the whole situation.
Yep.
It's not got too nasty or too violent. Well, at least not on my end, but that's because I'm not really involved as far as I can see. But I think before it does get horrible and goes very nasty and possibly violent, people should just let it go. And also, another point, I don't really think it's fair to take a dig at Tracy by saying, where's the support for Tommy Robinson gone? I think whether she supports Tommy Robinson or not is neither here nor there. It's no he's not the standard in the movement.
Because as we all know, there's inside stories to most things that are going on. So, you know, that's not even for anyone to really involve themselves in. And that's the thing where, again, when you comment in, have that kind of breadth of knowledge before you jump in on someone's back. And I'll defend Tracy on that. It's up to her if she wants to support Tommy Robbie. If she wants to...
Yeah, it's an irrelevant point.
That's her choice.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That's why I made the point of saying that, you know, you've raised your point and it's done with now. And I get that you were hurt because I know, obviously, I know who your granddad about, a little bit about your granddad, Busker. I get why you were hurt. But you know what? Tracy's hurt you too. And you going on and on and on and on and on and on, just leave it. Okay? It's done. It's finished. You move on to doing whatever it is you want to do. And those making threats, you know, wind your necks in and stop, grow up, be mature adults. Okay, you don't have to like the guy, you don't have to get on with the guy, but let him get on with his thing, you get on with your thing. Because you know what, they're actually the biggest divide there for Tracy, in my opinion, is those everybody at Loggerheads. We're actually not at Loggerheads because I don't do anything to attack Tracy or anybody else for that matter. I don't attack Busker, and I don't agree with everything he's done or everything he has said in the past, and I've told him that. I certainly don't support or agree with anything Tony Martin's got to say. And quite frankly, nothing he says.
You don't agree with 100% things that I say. You have your own opinions.
But you made a video. You gave your opinion. We will be leaving it here. We will finish this conversation. We will say goodnight to each other. We will not discuss this any further. That's it. That's how we deal with things. Phil's done his bit. I've done my bit because I was dragged into it. And I didn't want to be involved in it, but you've got to do the same, Buster. You've got to learn to just leave it, just walk away and leave it, just stop. But for now, I'm going to go. I've got a cup of tea with my name on it. So I bid you all good night.
Good night.
Cheers, Toda. Cheers, Janea. And thank you to everyone on this comment section who's joined the stream. I love you all. Even
the pissing haters.
Love it, love it, love it. God bless you all. See you soon, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.